Well, good morning. It is 5:30 in the morning and the alarm's just gone off. We're at the top of the mountain in Portugal and it's the start of another day in the life of a tour guide. So first things first is I need to get myself sorted, get my bags packed, get my bags on the bike, get myself down to the bike, and then be there for when all the guests, the clients, start arriving so they know that we're all sorted and we're ready, and just go and check the bikes. One thing I do is go down and check all the bikes first thing in the morning, so if there's any problems with anybody's bike before anybody gets there, I've got to kind of pre-warn that there's going to be issues when I find them. So if there's any flat tires or anything like that, we can try and deal with it before breakfast and before people get down, so I can break the news, all that sort of stuff. But let's hope everything is normal. So I'm going to get myself sorted, teeth, washed, showered, pack my bags, get down to the bikes, check the bikes, make sure mine's sorted, and then wait for the clients to get up and meet them all down by their bikes, and then head off to breakfast and then do a briefing about the day. So stay tuned. And I'm going to try and get up now and get motivated. Right, well, that's me dressed, me ready, my bag's packed, all my bags packed. And now it's time for me to have a look through using my iPad and just double check through my itinerary for the day that I know exactly what is happening. So that when I get out and down to the bikes, that if any of the guests, any of the riders arrive and ask questions, because they'll ask questions first thing in the morning, last thing at night, I know all of the answers. Now, I've done these routes so many times, but I always look and make sure I know exactly what's happening on the day, where all the pitfalls might be on the road, where people might take the wrong turn, coffee stops, lunch stops, coffee stops, what the hotels like, how we're going to go and get there, what the roads will be like, that sort of thing, what general direction we're going on, what general roads we're going on, and just make sure that I know what's happening before we go. And it may seem strange for some people. They go, why are you getting up so early? Breakfast isn't till 8. You're up at 5:30. But my bike will be sorted and loaded. My head will be rejuvenated with the information that I've got from the tour. I'm ready to go. My bike's sorted. I've checked. I'm going to go out in a minute and check all of the guests' bikes, just in case there's any nasties that's going to hit us. So I've got forewarning, so I can let them know and we can try and deal with it before we go, so we don't lose any time. And above all, I think from a tour guide's perspective, and certainly from a customer's perspective, a guide should meet them down at the bike, not ready there and going, hi guest, hi, but morning, how are you? I think it's only right, if you're paying for an escorted tour like ours, because we're not a guided tour, an escorted tour, when you arrive down to the bike and you're sorting your stuff out, that the guide is around, that you feel that the guide is there and you can ask questions and that we've got them. So without further ado, because time's slipping on, I'm going to make sure my head knows exactly what's happening today, and then I'm going to go down and sort my bike out. So now we're up. You've seen me sort out all of my stuff. My bike, Alvin, is all packed. Graham stood over there, he sorted his bike. Mark's holding the camera, he's sorted his bike out, done all our powders checks. And now I'm gonna walk along the line of bikes, so follow me this way, and just double check that there's no nasties that's gonna hit us before the clients get here, because then we've got forearmed is forewarned.
We like doing powder checks on other people's bikes.
No, I'm checking to make sure that the tyres are still up and their bikes are still there. That's about it. But if the tyres are flat, it's a big issue, isn't it? So we need to know beforehand so that we can calm them down and tell them it's all sorted. So,
okay.
Mike's bike, Paul's bike, and that is Bill's bike, and that is Jeremy's bike. All looking right, and they're all still here, which is good. This is Chris's bike. This is Graham.
Morning, Graham.
Morning. We've got Sarah's bike. All looking good. And I always do this in the morning, but also do this late at night as well to make sure no keys have been left in the bike and stuff. You'd be amazed what I found on people's bikes. That's not ours. I'm not even looking at mine. This is John's bike. It's a hire bike. So yeah, they're looking alright.
They hired them from Hertz, didn't they? Hertz Madrid.
And this is Beth's bike. That's not ours. That's not ours. That's not ours. That's not ours. But there are two bikes right down the end that I've already checked because I've walked over. So we're all sorted now. In my head is the route. I've genned myself up on the route, and we're going to go for breakfast when they all come down at 8. Now, it seems strange. You go, why are you up so early? But there's a load of benefits to getting up early. So if you're not a morning person and you're a tour guide, you need to be a morning person. But you need to be a morning person because we'll be working up until about midnight. And I'll take you on the journey. So you'll see a bit of the roads that I'm doing, what I'm thinking about along the road and along the journey, and any trials and tribulations that happen on the way. So we'll see you at some point today. Well, now that we've done our briefing, and you can see the car park, it's totally empty. Those bikers are not our group. All our riders have gone on ahead, because as you know, we run escorted tours, not guided tours, so you can get all of the GPX files, all of the routes, a comprehensive itinerary. And the itinerary for this tour, Spain and Portugal, is 114 pages. And I'm sure there will be more pages next year, which will be amazing. So, briefing's done. My bike's all sorted. Fortunately today, there was no issues with bikes or anything going wrong with bikes, and people were really up for it. The weather's really nice. It's going to be nice all day. They had some rain overnight, but they're looking forward to going and riding the ride. So the briefing that I do, briefing that is done by either me, Mark or Graham on one of our tours, is all about what to expect for the day. So the itinerary details where we're going, how we're getting there, where we're going to get there, and some highlights along the way. So it might be that we're going down some hairpin bends, and sat-navs sometimes have the propensity to take you off on a different route, which is horrific for the rider. So we point out all the things that we know that could go wrong on a tour, so that people are aware of those things and they don't fall foul of something going wrong, and that they enjoy their ride. We talk about the coffee stops and the lunch stops, all of which we've been and recce'd and used. Now, sometimes there are some things in Spain and Portugal that you plan for that you just didn't know was going to happen. So, like some coffee stops, when we came over the border into Portugal, there's a lovely coffee stop at the border crossing, the disused border. But unfortunately, the owner that day had fallen off the roof and been stretched to hospital, so we hope he's okay. But it meant that there was now no stop there. But people didn't know because we were still on the way there. So there are little things like we say, you know, on that specific day at the coffee stop, the first coffee stop, they do really lovely toasty sandwiches, and they'll wrap them up for you so you can take them just in case the cafe's shut. I think one or two people did that this year, and they were fortunate because they were able to eat something, but there is always something further ahead for them to stop at, have their coffees and their meals and all of that sort of stuff. So the briefing talks about that. It talks about the fact that we're in Portugal at the moment, and as lovely as Portugal is, we don't get to spend much time in Portugal on this tour. We get to spend 3 days in Portugal, and today our ride takes us into Salamanca, into Spain, which moves us back into Spanish time. So Portuguese time is same as UK, we're in the same time zone, but we lose an hour because we go to Spanish time, which is an hour ahead of the UK. So things like that I point out in the briefing. I point out what the hotel looks like and show them pictures from the itinerary. And then
tell them about the parking, and I always like to book a meal for the group in the hotel that we're going to be at. But I also like to be able to tell people that there are things that you could go and do in the city or the town or the village that we're actually staying. And Salamanca is such a lovely town that talking to them about the town, and we're losing an hour, so you can stop wherever you want to stop. You can stop as long as you want, but bearing in mind that it's a 5-hour ride, and with stops you could be like 6-7 hours, which is a lovely day. But the longer you stop, the later you will get into your hotel. And because Salamanca is such a lovely place, I think it's one of those towns or cities really, that if you're there, it would be a shame to miss and not go and have a look around. So I think most people are going to let me know by the end of the day that they're going to go into Salamanca and explore. And then all I'll do when I get to the Salamanca hotel is speak to the reception and say thanks very much for the booking. We've only got 4 people or 2 people, or thanks very much, but we're going to cancel the booking for the table. And I know that seems a roundabout wrong way of doing it for some that work in that industry in a hotel, but we are selling their hotel as a product through our company to our customers. So unfortunately, sometimes these things happen and people want to do other things. And incidentally, look at that view. Awesome. So I've got up, I've genned myself about the route, because even though I've ridden this route so many times, I still make notes just to prompt myself, because you'll get a question in the briefing saying, well, what about this? And it takes you off tangent of where you are and you forget to mention something. So I always make notes either the night before or on the morning. I always gen myself up the night before about what's going to happen tomorrow, because you will always get asked questions at the most inopportune time, and you need to know. So my ethos, or our ethos within our company, is that the guides need to know what the tour's about. They need to have been on the tour, they need to have lived it, breathed it, slept it, because it instills confidence with people that are coming with you, that you know what you're talking about. You know that at a certain stop you're going to have to cross the road, so be really careful about crossing the road, because it's quite a bad junction, or it may take you on the motorway out of Guimarães in Portugal, even though you've got motorways avoided on your sat-nav, and that's fine, and it does it for 10-15 minutes to get you out of the city rather than going through it and very quickly onto really nice roads. So little things like that, little things like knowing shortcuts, they're always handy, so that you can pop up at the most unexpected time where people might come to a bit of an issue on a route, and you can show them the right way. One thing we don't do is we don't lead people. We lead people for the first day or so that people can get used to being in a country and riding on a different side of the road, and getting used to the signs and where we're going, getting used to the navigation, that sort of thing. But from then, we really encourage, we don't mind people riding with us, but we really encourage people to ride in groups and ride on their own and navigate. And the guide, normally there's one guide there will be one guide and a support rider on a tour, but this one's very different, so we got 3 guides. So we've placed Graham up the front somewhere, Mark in the middle somewhere, and I am at the back because I'm the lead guide for this tour, and we think that's really important. So having the lead guide for that tour right at the back may seem counterintuitive, but it's paid dividends over the years that I've been doing it this way, and it certainly works, because if there's an issue with somebody up ahead, I'm never more than half an hour, 45 minutes or less away from the lead ride, the first person that's gone. And that may sound like a long time, and of course it is if you really need help, but it isn't in the scheme of things, because we're always on the road and we will always be there. Normally it's like 10-15 minutes, and suddenly we're there sorting the problem out. So if there's an issue with a customer, they always ring us or ring me. and then I can talk to them and perhaps get Mark or Graham, who are up ahead, to go and meet them and start sorting the issue out till I get there. And it could be anything from I'm lost, my sat-nav's run out of battery, or something's gone wrong with it, I don't know where to go. This is where I am. They give us the coordinates or send us the location on WhatsApp, and then we navigate to it, sort the issue out. It could be I've had an accident, so we sort that out with the authorities with accident forms and calm people down, and make sure that they're looked after and they can get to the destination, and I've got hold of insurance companies and all of that sort of stuff. But being a tour guide seems a very sexy job, and of course it is. It's an amazing job. It's a full-on job. Yes, it might be part-time if you only do 1, 2, 3 tours a year, and you might do it in leave from your normal job. But it is a very full-on job. So you saw that I started work this morning at 5:30, because the first thing I need to do is sort myself out. When I'm sorted out, my bike's sorted out, my head has got the knowledge for the day in it, and I've genned up on it. Any questions I can answer, I've checked people's bikes, and if there's any issues that pop up that they don't know about, I can inform them before they get there, and we can sort it out together and not lose too much time. And then everybody goes to breakfast, we do the briefing, and then people head off. And what we see with a lot of the groups, especially this one, this is our first inaugural tour as RiderCamTV Tours, is that people get into a very, very good routine. So we have breakfast at the same time every day. I give the briefing while people are having breakfast. Everybody's bikes are sorted out, they're all loaded before breakfast, and then we're all ready to go. Check out, we check that everything at the hotel has been paid and there's no overdue bills that people have forgot, so we can pay it, settle the bill, keep the relationships with the hotels, and then follow that up with the customer later on. And it has happened on tours before, so we always check, we always make sure people have got their passports before they leave, all that sort of stuff, so that they haven't got a massive taxi bill to go and pick it up or an overnight ride to go and get it. And then the sexy bit comes. So as a tour guide, you've got to be really, really good at managing your own time and space, and being really comfortable with navigating, seeing what's happening before it happens, and being on your own most of the time. Because at the end of the day, that's most of the time you spend on your own. And it's not about you, it's not about me as a tour guide, it's not about I'm in holiday mode and I'm going to go and enjoy my holiday, and because it's not a holiday, it's working. And I'm very fortunate to have a job doing this where my hobby has met, or my job has met my hobby, which is just incredible, isn't it? But you've always got to remember that something could sideblind you. So the other day, having a cracking day, it was lovely, everybody's enjoying everything, all their sat-navs are working perfectly, everybody's happy, they're updating the WhatsApp, and then I get a call from somebody who has, I think we've gone the wrong way. So half an hour on the phone, really bad signal, but half an hour on the phone to them, ensuring that they were on the right route and giving them the confidence to carry on. And of course, being prepared to spend 20 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever it might be, going back to find them, to give them the confidence to carry on again. So yes, you can enjoy the ride, you can really enjoy the ride, but being a tour guide, it's all about the customers. The customer experience is what we strive to get the best at. We want to be the best at what we're doing. So making sure that the customer is always happy. And sometimes that's giving them the answer. Sometimes it's giving them answers that they don't actually want to hear. But I don't skirt around the issue. I'm trying to be as nice as I can with everybody all the time. But we're dealing with adults, so sometimes you need to tell them where they might have gone wrong and how they might be able to change it. But that's, never done in a harsh way. It's always done in a nice, kind way. Always done in a nice, kind way. And then for me, it's then about riding the ride and sticking to the route. So it's always tempting, or it's very, very often tempting to ride the route and think, oh, I wonder where that road goes. Or you come up behind the clients and the guests and you think, oh, I'll take this route because it means that I'm now not pressuring them, because they might feel pressured that the guide is behind you or the guide is behind them. And sometimes that is a bit more of a pressure than you think, that you imply on people without realising it. So I tend not to ride really close behind them, and if they're there I just stop and pull over and never turn off and think, oh, this road looks nice, because most of the people will follow the route that you've provided. And if they're following the route you've provided and you've gone off piste and suddenly the ride that you're doing is an extra 35 minutes, you're now putting yourself further and further away from them. So in terms of being a guide and enjoying yourself, 100% you can enjoy yourself every single day. But it's full on, so start at 5:30 in the morning, sort myself out, and then have a nice ride and deal with anything that happens during the day, including stopping where I might not want to stop. And then once that's over and you're riding, is then get into the hotel, and as guides, I will never ever go and get in my room, have a shower, get changed until every one of my clients and guests are at the hotel, parked up, safe, happy. And I do that for several reasons. So I've turned up to hotels before and they've given hotel rooms to people they shouldn't have done, especially if there's a twin room and there's two people sharing. Some hotels might inadvertently give a room each to them, which means somebody's going to lose out. So we always make sure that people have got the rooms that they have paid for and that we've booked. Sort out any issues at the hotel that might arise, make sure we know when the breakfast time is, when the evening meal is, where it is, so that we can point it out, and then update WhatsApp with a lovely message telling them welcome to wherever they are. This is what we're doing, this is where we're going, this is when we'll meet. Feel free to go into the town, just let me know when you get back, all that sort of stuff. And then it's time for me to go and get changed. So Sundays we might get into the hotel at 6:30, 7 o'clock, or 6:30ish, and that's because I'm right at the back. So everything's sorted, all the guests are in there, they've all been done all day, everything's great, and now I've got 20 minutes to get changed, showered, ring home, catch up with people at the end of the day, and then get down ready to meet people in the bar to talk about the day that they've had, issues that they've had that they haven't told us about, feedback about the routes, and invariably lots of laughs and jokes, as well as questions about what we're doing tomorrow. So you have to know your tour inside out, because they will ask questions and saying, oh, I don't know about that, I'll have to tell you in the morning. I don't think cuts it as a guide. You should be able to say, well, tomorrow we're off to Cagastonis and we'll start off, it's a slightly longer ride, we've got a bit of motorway for an hour, but then after there the sublime roads, and we will go through Riano and the Picos and all that sort of stuff. You need to know that as a tour guide. So we'd go in for the meal, and after the meal's finished, invariably people stay for a couple of drinks. I tend to go to bed, so I wish everybody good night, let them know or remind them that we'll meet them in for breakfast at 8, and then go to bed or go to my room, and then the first thing that I do is pack my bags ready for tomorrow as best I can, and put everything in the room where I know it's going to be, and just have a very, very quick look through the itinerary for tomorrow, just a quick gen up so that it makes a little bit more sense tomorrow morning, and then go to sleep and then do it all over again. And that's for 13 days. So it's a long old day, but it's one of those days that when you're doing it as a hobby, it doesn't matter how long it is, because it's just an enjoyable day, and it doesn't matter what you're doing, you're on a bike, and every day is a great day, isn't it? And it certainly is on tour no matter what the weather is. But you've also got to think about, the psychology of the group. who's getting on with who. Is there any people falling out? Do you need to massage the group in a way that the people that are feeling a little bit left out from another group perhaps feel integrated and part of it? We need to make sure that everybody gets a piece of me, for want of a better word, so I don't talk to one person and favour them over the other. So I love the psychology of a group of people that might not have met each other, and suddenly see them all becoming friends and starting to ride, and then the confidence of some of the people that don't want to ride on their own and navigate, moving towards them actually navigating for a group that they're leading. It's incredible. I love that part of the job. And of course, making friends. So in my day job, where I put a uniform on, I might go to a job and I would probably never see that person again, or if I did, they certainly wouldn't be a friend, because that's a bit unethical. But this job is very, very different. This job is very, very different. The people that you meet on tour sometimes become lifelong friends, and they just are lovely people. So that's a short snapshot, probably whittled on for far too long, but a short snapshot about the start of a day in the life of a tour guide.